It's one of the most anticipated lightweight matches in history. Will Benson Henderson make it 8 wins in a row, or will Anthony Pettis leave the Octagon the new champion? Who wins our verbal sparring match, UFC veteran John Alessio or a fan? And what do you really need to know about the UFC 164 fight card from Milwaukee? All of this and Brandon Vera answers the call of the Octagon in an exclusive interview presented by our friends at PlayStation. Greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits. Get ready, UFC fans. Fight Day begins right now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Fight Day presented by PlayStation. I'm Allison Haislip. Somewhere scattered amongst the tens of thousands of bikers flooding Milwaukee this weekend, one thing is for certain: a fight is going to break out. 13 fights to be exact. UFC 164, the year's most anticipated card, goes down this Saturday. But before you hit that UFC 164 watch party, here's what you need to know. UFC 164 will air live on pay-per-view this Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and features 5 fantastic main card fights, highlighted by a lightweight title bout between Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis. You like big fights between big names? How about Frank Mir versus Josh Barnett, Chad Mendes versus Clay Guida, and Ben Rothwell versus Brandon Vera? Saturday night can't get here fast enough. Finally, did we mention this was a big card? So big that all 10 of the main card fighters have challenged for or held some sort of MMA title during their careers. And wins by Barnett and Mendes will have both guys lobbying for title shots next. But before we break down those battles, let's take a closer look at Henderson versus Pettis and find out who's the man. The first fight between Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis produced one of the most memorable moments in MMA history. The often replayed, never duplicated Showtime kick. Will there be more fireworks on Saturday? Our experts know, and they're here to share their wealth of knowledge with the masses. To my right, John Morgan of MMA Junkie and USA Today, and to my left, Brett Okamoto of ESPN. John, you are repping Benson Henderson. Brett, you've got Anthony Pettis. 3 rounds, 20 seconds per round, 1 minute total to make your case. John, you are on the clock. Who's the man?
I might not even need 3 rounds, to be honest. We might get this done right now. Let's use simple math. The easiest statistic in all of fight sports in general: wins and losses. Benson Henderson 7-0 since he came to the UFC. Nobody's beat him. Anthony Pettis 3-1. I think this is an entirely different Benson Henderson this time around. Something changed. A spark ignited with him. He fights different. I think Benson Henderson's the man.
Time up. Brett, go.
Well, I got a number for you. 3 takedowns. Those are the only 3 takedowns that Ben Henderson got when he fought Anthony Pettis the first time. A 25-minute fight in a smaller WEC cage. Now they're in a big UFC cage. It's going to be hard for him to corral Anthony Pettis against the fence, and it's just tough to take Anthony Pettis down. He comes out in that Taekwondo stance where he's sort of to the side. It's just hard to get in on a double-leg shot.
20's up, John. Back to you for your 20.
Well, listen, I'll admit that Anthony Pettis is a tough matchup for Benson Henderson. We saw it the first time around, but here's the problem I have with Anthony Pettis. He wasn't healthy enough to fight Jose Aldo. He had a knee injury. Now he's healthy enough to fight Benson Henderson. I'm not sure I buy into that. How do we know that this is really 100% Anthony Pettis right now? As spectacular as he may be, and as bad of a matchup as he may be, I'm just not convinced.
Your 20's up, John. 20. You got to stay within the lines. We're driving sober here. All right, Brett, your turn. 20.
Well, even a 50% Anthony Pettis can outstrike Benson Henderson. I think that Anthony Pettis can outstrike anybody at 155 pounds. I mean, who drops Donald Cerrone with a liver kick like that? Who detonates a head kick on Joe Lozon like you saw in Japan? I mean, this guy has just reached a level of confidence and a level of maturity with his striking that we just don't see anywhere else in the division.
That's your 20. Your final 20. John, go.
Let's look at the intangibles, okay? We're talking about the rematch, how much passion is here, how much Benson Henderson wants to beat Anthony Pettis. I don't think that really matters. I think the fact is Benson Henderson is standing on the cusp of history. He's tied with BJ Penn. He's tied with Frankie Edgar for the most title defenses in UFC lightweight history with 3. he can get to 4 with this and stand alone atop that mountain. This man wants history. I think it favors.
Your 20's up, Brett. Your final.
Well, let's talk about intangibles, and I think the biggest intangible of this fight is that these two have met before, and Anthony Pettis won. And when that happens, you expect the guy who lost, especially a close fight like that, to say, give me that fight again. This is a guy that I can beat. I let him off the hook. I should have beat him the first time. Ben Henderson has never really said that about Anthony Pettis, and that to me shows something a little bit into his mindset, and especially now the fight is in, Anthony Pettis is home.
Time! Oh, nice job, guys. It's the rematch. Benson Henderson, Anthony Pettis. You do not want to miss this one. Thank you, guys. We are going to see you again shortly. Now joining us on set is 50-plus fight MMA veteran John the Natural Alessio, and our fan is Tony Heredia. We've got a fan, we've got a fighter. You know what time it is. Okay, guys, here we go. Chad Mendes. The guy is 14-1 with only that one flukish knockout loss to Jose Aldo. If he beats Clay Guida, it'll be 4 wins in a row. Does he deserve the next shot at the featherweight belt? John, what do you think?
I don't think so.
No.
I think he's definitely going to be a contender at some point, but I think they're overlooking Ricardo Lamas. He should be in line for the title shot next. He's been on a tear just like Chad has, but I'm tired of who's more marketable. Why not give the fight to who deserves it and who can actually contend with the champion?
Nice. Tony, what do you think?
I think Chad Mendes deserves a shot, absolutely. I think he definitely showed a lot of heart in their first fight. Like you said, he's coming off 4 wins. And it's not about marketability, it's about he deserves a shot.
Ricardo Lamas is coming off of 3 wins.
Yeah, well, who's Ricardo Lamas? Who's going to sell more tickets?
Jose Aldo is going to be the one selling the tickets here, not the contender. It's going to be the champion that sells the tickets. Let's give the fans a good fight. Ricardo Lamas can do it.
Well, I have got exactly 0 wins, so I will be selling no tickets. Next topic. George St. Pierre is going to pay for VADA drug testing out of his own pocket prior to his bout with Johnny Hendricks. Guys, he has never failed a drug test, so is this necessary? John, what do you think?
I think it is kind of necessary. A lot of the fans and critics think that, you know, he's been beating the drug test somehow, or maybe UFC swept it under the rug or something like that. So this is his way to really prove to the world that he is a clean fighter. So I think it is necessary for him to do this.
Tony, thoughts?
Maybe I should just bring up Lance Armstrong. How many tests did he pass? I mean, let's face it, guys. George St. Pierre is a great champion. He's an unbelievable athlete. But this, in my opinion, kind of makes me think, why are you going to do this? I mean, are you trying to prove something to someone?
He's legitimizing his championship, that I did this clean since day one. This is his time to prove that. And, you know, all the
5 years from now, we'll find out that somehow he got that passed like Lance Armstrong. So I don't think it's doing anything but making him, maybe himself feel better, but I don't think it does anything to legitimize it.
Well, regardless, I am going to be interested to see the results of this test. Okay, finally, just when we thought Chael Sonnen might be ready to ride off into the sunset, he goes out and destroys Shogun Rua at UFC on Fox Sports 1. What does the UFC do with this guy now? Tony?
I think that Chael Sonnen is great for the sport. He almost beat Anderson Silva. He had the flukish loss on their rematch. John Jones, he should have fought Chael on the spur of the moment, but he's not a real champion. Chael will fight anyone at any time. I think he legitimately does have another shot in the middleweight division, and he's great for the sport.
John?
No, I think he'll never become a champion again. You can't mess with Chris Weidman. He's a younger, better version of him. He can outstrike him, out-wrestle him. He has no chance at the middleweight title. Light heavyweight, we already seen what happened with John Jones. I think it would be worse the second time around. He's got no shot at a title unless he maybe drops to 170. But he can be the gatekeeper. You know, if someone beats him, they could get their title shot. He is a tough guy.
The gatekeeper? How could you call him a gatekeeper? No one thought he'd beat Shogun.
True. That's true. I didn't think he'd beat Shogun either, and I think Shogun would beat him in a rematch, and that's, again, why he will not become champion.
Never, never.
Well, the man is full of surprises, that is for sure. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you being here for Fan vs. Fighter. Brandon Vera was once considered the future of the UFC heavyweight division. Then he cut to light heavyweight, where he had mixed results. Now he's back in the heavyweight division, ready to make his mark. The Fight Day cameras traveled to California to talk with Vera about the challenge he has faced in his MMA career, both in and out of the cage. Here's part one of Call of the Octagon with Brandon Vera, presented by PlayStation, where greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits.
Brandon Vera was one of the future stars of mixed martial arts.
Brandon Vera was a huge prospect.
This is an amazing opportunity for him. If he beats Shogun, Brandon lets everybody know, I'm back.
He was telling the world he was going to be the light heavyweight champion, he was going to be the heavyweight champion.
Brandon, the true Vera!
That fight, I lost. But I've never, in my life, I've never enjoyed any fight more than that fight. I took from that fight a lot of life lessons. It only took, what, 4 or 5 rounds to figure out everything I needed to know. So from that point, I just started training. So everybody that has been waiting for me to fight, you will see a fully developed, well-rounded, methodical MMA fighter. I just plan on getting my ass back in the Octagon and getting better. So you're gonna see something a lot different now.
On this episode of Call of the Octagon, we enter the heavyweight arena with Brandon Vera, a professional fighter with 18 fights under his belt. Vera puts it all on the line for the Call of the Octagon. Brought to you by Sony PlayStation. Greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits.
This isn't life for everybody, man. Here, all my coaches here will tell you. People come up to them all the time and say, hey, I want to be an MMA fighter. First thing they do is say, no, you don't. You know it sucks, right? Like, that's the first thing they tell everybody. Go train for a little while. Talk to me in 6 months. If you can still look me in the face with a straight face and tell me that you want to be an MMA fighter, we'll talk then. This is really something you kind of got to figure out on your own, man. If you can climb out of that hole, you can become one of the greats.
For Vera, the hole he climbed out of after his loss to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu legend Mauricio Shogun Rua was deep and dark.
Well, after the Shogun fight, I only stopped training 2 times that I can remember. I even broke my hand since then, my thumb, and I didn't stop training then. I just put that in a cast and kept training. I got up to 252, and I started to try to cut back to 205. All of my training went to shit. I was like, you know what, Matt? Call Joe and Dana and see if they'll let me stay at heavyweight. And they called, he was like, yeah, bro, they're back at heavyweight. I was like, I can eat, I can keep training the way I want to train. Oh, I'm in.
When we return on Call of the Octagon, we explore Vera's growth as a fighter through the good times and the bad. Call of the Octagon is brought to you by Sony PlayStation. Greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits.
Coming up on Fight Day, we'll bring you another installment of Fighting Fails, and our experts are back to debate who's the man, Frank Mir or Josh Barnett. Don't go anywhere. Fight Day, we'll be right back.
Who are you not to be great? You. With the imagination of a brilliant child and the powers of an ancient god? Who are you to be ordinary? You, who can rescind life or raise the dead. Who are you to be afraid? You, who can serve as judge and jury while hoarding infinite lives. Who are you to be a slave to the past? You, who can travel time like the oceans and rewrite history with a single word. Who are you to be anonymous? You, whose name should be spoken in reverent tones or in terrified whispers. And who are you to deny greatness? If you would deny to yourself, you deny to the entire world. And we will not be denied.
Saturday, we're gearing up for UFC 164, a card that features a lightweight title fight, as well as a couple of #1 contender fights. Just a monster of a card. But now we've got another installment of Who's the Man? Here to debate who's the man, once again, are John Morgan of MMA Junkie and USA Today and Brett Okamoto of ESPN. John, you have got Frank Mir for 3 rounds. Brett, you are repping Josh Barnett. Same rules, 3 rounds each, 20 seconds per round. And Brett, you're up first this time. Your time starts now.
The big number for Josh Barnett for me is 0. 0 submission losses for this guy in his entire career. And if you go on his record and look, there are 2 of them there, but they were both flukes. They weren't submissions. One, he hurt his shoulder. The other one, he got poked in the eye. And basically, Frank Mir has always been his bread and butter of submissions, but especially now that he's lost a little bit of his athleticism, this guy needs to out-grapple his opponents to win fights, and I don't think he's going to out-grapple Josh Barnett.
20 seconds down to you, John.
All right, let's talk about numbers then. 21, most fights in UFC heavyweight history, Frank Mir. 14, most wins in UFC heavyweight history, Frank Mir. This guy is the UFC heavyweight division. He's been around forever. He's been fighting top-level opposition, whereas Josh Barnett has been outside the organization, making his living elsewhere. I don't think he's been facing a level of competition. This is not Brett Rogers. This is not Geronimo Dos Santos.
That is your 20. Brett, to you.
You know, when you talk about heavyweights, you don't often talk about the ability to move away from punches. These guys are big boys. They should be able to take punches. That's kind of just what we think. Save the stick and move for the little guys. But I think it's interesting to bring up that Frank Mir is getting hit a lot, especially lately. 3.84 strikes this guy is absorbing per minute. And I think that number has gone higher in recent fights. He just doesn't get out of the way of these punches.
Sorry, John, to you.
Statistically speaking, here's something interesting. I think Josh Barnett has a better successful takedown rate than Frank Mir does. So while you're talking about the striking, I honestly believe this fight is going to be a bit of a stalemate in the striking department. I think they're going to kind of nullify each other. And because of that, I think Josh Barnett is going to want to get this fight to the floor. To me, that actually plays out in Frank Mir's favor. Not to take away from Josh Barnett's strengths. I think Frank is better
Sorry,
than
you. Brett, your final 20.
I think bottom line is we ask who's the man. Josh Barnett is the man in this fight because Frank Mir is no longer the man. And I'm not going to tell the guy to retire. That's a decision that all fighters need to come up with themselves. But if you look at Frank Mir's past fights, he just doesn't have that passion in there. It looks like he's half asleep in some of these fights. And when he fights Josh Barnett, a guy who's going to be excited to get back in the UFC and feel like he has something to prove, that enthusiasm level is going to show.
Done. Your final 20, John. Go.
Frank Mir's the man. Just ask him. He'll be happy to tell you he's the man. But no, listen, Frank Mir is in a bad position right now, okay? He's coming off 2 losses. Daniel Cormier, Junior Dos Santos. His back is against the wall. As cliched as that may be, Frank Mir has shown himself to be a fighter that's kind of resilient when the chips are stacked against him. And I think we're going to see a motivated Frank Mir. I don't think we're going to see that listless guy that we've seen the last few times out.
You're done. Oh, nice job, guys. Nice job. Really looking forward to that heavyweight fight on Saturday between the 2 former champions. Now here on Fight Day, we want to ensure that you're always the guy in the room with the highest MMA IQ. It's Trending Topics. Ronda Rousey is making a lot of headlines lately. The Maxim cover girl and UFC champ made waves recently when she said that she had 2 years left in the sport of MMA. Rousey, who was just cast in the upcoming movie Fast and Furious 7, after also landing a role in Expendables 3, said, quote, "I really want to do something special and I really want to be the person that was able to do both fighting and acting." The Ultimate Fighter Season 18's debut is right around the corner with a mixed cast of both men and women fighters. Both the guy and girl contestants will participate at bantamweight, or 135 pounds for you number freaks out there, and will be coached by bitter rivals Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey. Catch all the action September 4th on Fox Sports 1. And finally, could this be the end for the skyscraper? In some terrible news that could be a career ender, 6'11" Stefan Struve has been diagnosed with a leaking aortic valve and an enlarged heart. The heavyweight will begin 2 months of treatment and will be reevaluated by doctors to choose the best course of action, with one option being retirement. Now it's back to Southern California, where we see that greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits. It's part 2 of our Call of the Octagon with Brandon Vera.
In part 2 of Call of the Octagon, we explore Brandon Vera's growth as a fighter and his realization that losing is part of the journey to greatness. Call of the Octagon is brought to you by Sony PlayStation. Greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits.
I realized through my ups and downs, through my trials and tribulations, that I'd have wanted the shot, but I was never ready. I understand now what it takes to become a champion.
Vera explains the path to victory is best realized by knowing yourself and knowing your opponent.
You should know them on first name basis. When you say Randy, you automatically know you're talking about Randy Couture. When you say Shogun, you know who the hell you're talking about. And both of those guys were and are my heroes. Being able to actually share the octagon and trade blows with sweat with those guys was an amazing experience. I think I've grown more because I fought those guys.
For Vera, making his own path in MMA is a victory. As much of a victory as getting his hand raised.
I've always been one to go against the grain. Competing in sports gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted, how I wanted, with my own style and my own flavor. The journey itself has been crazy. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of peaks and valleys, but I enjoy it, man.
For Brandon "The Truth" Vera, the road to the heavyweight championship belt can only be won with extreme sacrifice.
If you don't have the gumption to sleep on somebody else's couch, be broke, be hungry, have bad credit, lose a couple friends, lose a couple chicks, and that's just the beginning. Then if you're not willing to go through that, man, you'll never make it as an MMA fighter. You'll have plenty of friends, especially when everything's going good, you're riding a high horse, and you have plenty of friends, man. And then when the tough times come, that's when you're gonna find out who your handful of friends are, you know?
Looking forward to his opponent at UFC 164, Vera reflects on his strategy against Ben Rothwell.
Big Ben really likes to test his chin. He doesn't mind getting hit, and he'll take a shot to give a shot. So I'm really looking forward to testing his chin for him. I'm really excited about this fight, man. I want everybody to see a well-rounded Vera come back. But trust me, if I can finish it early, I will. And you can expect me to be in shape, full of fire, and looking to finish the fight. The most memorable and the biggest highlight of my career has not happened yet. So make sure you keep watching when I fight, because I'm still gonna get that belt. Don't blink.
Be sure to watch Vera versus Rothwell in UFC 164, where Brandon "The Truth" Vera will rise to the call of the Octagon. Brought to you by Sony PlayStation. Greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits.
Coming up on Fight Day, we're bringing you the goods, or is it the bads? Either way, it's another hilarious installment of Fighting Fails. Don't go anywhere, Fight Day is coming right back.
Who are you not to be great? You, with the imagination of a brilliant child and the powers of an ancient god. Who are you to be ordinary? You, who can rescind life or raise the dead. Who are you to be afraid? You, who can serve as judge and jury while hoarding infinite lives. Who are you to be a slave to the past? You, who can travel time like the oceans and rewrite history with a single word. Who are you to be anonymous? You, whose name should be spoken in reverent tones or in terrified whispers. And who are you to deny greatness? If you would deny to yourself, you deny to the entire world. And we will not be denied.
Welcome back to Fight Day, presented by PlayStation. Some of the top fighters in the world will showcase the highest level of skill at UFC 164 on Saturday. But not every aspiring mixed martial artist possesses this level of skill, or any skill for that matter. Let's look at the bright side. If it wasn't for these guys, we couldn't bring you our favorite segment. Behold, it's Fighting Fails. Men really like to prove their strength, be it how much weight they can lift, winning an arm wrestling match, or in this case, breaking things. But it's a fail every single time when you aim to break some boards, but you end up breaking your friend's face. Have a look. Obviously, winning is the ultimate goal when a fighter steps into the cage. And usually, if a fighter ends up in the hospital because he celebrated a little too much, there's an epic story that will be told for years and years. This would be the opposite of one of those epic stories. As any life coach worth their salt will tell you, preparation is typically the key to success. This guy listened to the life coach. He just totally butchered the execution. Maybe if he had gone with one more practice swing, this would have been amazing. Who are we kidding? It's still amazing. And with that final gem, that's a wrap for this installment of Fight Day. Thank you for being with us on this episode presented by Sony PlayStation. Greatness is worth fighting for. PlayStation, greatness awaits. UFC 164 comes to you live this Saturday on pay-per-view at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it is one amazing card. For John Morgan, Brett Okamoto, John Alessio, and everyone that helped to make Fight Day possible, I'm Allison Haislip. Enjoy the fights.